Today you'll see hiking shorts and pants, but they don't have to be. It's all about how many pockets you add in. You can put them all in or none. Super great pair of pants. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm here today to share with you my hiking pants and shorts. I don't know if I'll use them for hiking, to be honest. There aren't any mountains around here where I live in Brazil. I have enjoyed trekking a lot. In New Zealand, Chile, Bolivia, I really like that. There was lots of mountains over there. Anyway, the Medowlark is a new pattern from Love Notions. It was released yesterday. I had planned to have my video about it yesterday, but I ran out of hours. I initially had planned to just make one pair, but I couldn't help myself and I had to make two. You know, I had to make a pair of shorts and pants. When I made the shorts first, I figured out the steps can be a little bit different if you sew the pants. The pants can end up being easier, believe it or not. These are supposed to be hiking pants just because of all the features they have. But if you didn't put any pockets, they could just be a great pair of pants for woven fabrics. The waistband is a flat front elasticated back. The waistband is made out of a few pieces. There's a different one for the right side and the left. It's curved. There's an outer layer that's interfaced. There's an inner layer that's not interfaced. The back is elasticated. 2-inch elastic inside. It's a pretty wide waistband, 2 inches, very comfortable. I love this feature. It's just the best thing. When you look at the liner, you see that fly there. And I initially thought, oh, I'm going to sew a zipper. I was cool with that. But then I figured out, no, it's fake. It's all fake. There's even a fly extension on the pattern piece so that you have fabric behind that area when you top stitch. It makes it look so realistic. Now, I've been thinking about this and I'm pretty sure in the future I'm going to sew a pair of these with the actual zipper because the fly extension is already there. I could just pop on a zipper and all I'd have to do is borrow from another pair of pants the zipper shield that goes behind it and modify the waistband a bit. But I think definitely if you really wanted to put a zipper in here, you would be able to, although this does go up over your hips snugly, but it does go up over your hips. So the fit, you have a nice amount of ease here. These are supposed to be comfortable. You're supposed to have great range of motion here. They're meant for you to be able to do things that are super active. They are not super fitted pants. You have enough room in the thighs. It's a straight leg silhouette. Now, one cool thing that we have here are knee darts. This gives you a little bit of a curve, which makes it easier for you to bend your knee. Usually that doesn't happen that great with regular woven pants, but those knee darts are awesome. At the back, you have a yoke, you have patch pockets, you have patch pockets on the leg as well, on the thigh. Those are a little bit different because they have a pleat, they have a flap as well, and you can sew in a zipper pocket. So there's a lot of pockets for you to play with. And then on the front, you have your slant pockets. So how many pockets can you have if you decide to sew them all? Slant pockets, leg pockets, 4, zipper pockets, 5, back patch pockets, 2 more, 7. I've actually sewn 7 pockets on my shorts version. The shorts has an inseam of 5.5 inches and the full length pants 30 inches. Now, one option that I didn't sew and I didn't really want to sew, but I know a lot of people like, is zip off pants. So it's full length pants. They're just separated in two where you have a zipper there that you zip out and you're suddenly wearing shorts. If you're on a hike and you get hot, you can zip off the legs. If you want to, you can add belt loops here. There is a pattern piece for that. I never do that because I just don't wear belts when I wear pants. I think that's more important if you have more of a rectangular athletic figure that's more straight or an apple shape where the waist might be bigger than your hips. I think belts are important to help keep your pants up. But in my case, the difference between my waist and my hips sort of anchors them there and they don't really fall. And I find belts uncomfortable. So you'll never see me do the belt loops in anything, but you can if you want to. Thank you for you who have already purchased the pattern. You can use my affiliate link if you want to. If you want to support the work that I do over here, it's in the description box and at the top of the pinned comment. Remember, I have an active code that gets you an extra 10% also, even on top of a sale. That code is always in the description box as well. It's one that keeps on changing, so that's why I never mentioned here what it is, but there is an active code. The Medowlark will be on sale, 24% off through next Monday, the 4th of August. For fabrics, woven fabrics, you can also use stretch woven fabrics. I've had hiking pants in the past that I've bought from, brands. Colombia, whatever. And I always find those beautiful stretch woven fabrics there. But I can't get my hands on any of that type of technical fabric at all. I know a lot of people in the States might be able to, Canada, whatnot. I just can't. So I'm not counting on doing mine with stretch woven. If I'd planned on using a stretch woven, I would have done my test garment, my muslin in a stretch woven as well. I think the fit could be slightly different. But let's keep it simple. I'm just doing woven, and the more structured, the better. Denim, cotton twill, corduroy, linen, that would be amazing. Drapey fabrics, I wouldn't be too keen on using drapey fabrics here. Let's leave rayon and tencel aside. These fabrics are lovely, but they're not sturdy. With all these seams and with the stress that this garment would have, the seams will start opening up and breaking. So it's not a fabric I would want to use to make hiking pants or anything that you're going to be active in. That's just my opinion. But if you want to make a pair of pants to just wear casually like any regular pair of pants, then I think tencel twill would be amazing, but not for hiking. For my full length pants, I'm using black corduroy, and I know it's not a typical hiking pant thing, but I'm going to be going somewhere at the end of the year. It's going to be winter, and I'm going to need a very comfortable pair of pants with pockets, and I thought black corduroy was going to be amazing. If it got stained a little bit while I'm out and about, you wouldn't be able to tell, and maybe I'll be able to wear them for 2 days in a row. So I'm doing black corduroy. I bought it in Chile. It's impossible to find over here in Brazil, so that's why I jumped on the chance and got that black corduroy. It's going to be amazing winter pants. You need fusible interfacing for the waistband, the pocket pieces, and depends, I'm not interfacing the back waistband because my cotton twill I find is heavy and structured, so I didn't want it to interface the back waistband, although I did interface the front waistbands. Same as the pocket flaps. It's all got to do with fabric choice. I use 2 buttons for my waistband. The waistband ends up open in the front, even though it is fake. Even though there's a fake fly and they pull up, the waistband on the top is open. For the zipper, you just need a zipper. Hopefully it fits the size that you need. I had an extra long one where I had to trim teeth. You need 2-inch elastic for the back. There is a chart that tells you what length to cut it according to your size, and I tested that with my muslin and it was perfect. I didn't have to guess. Zip off pants. Depending on what size you make, you need a zipper from 20 to 28 inches in length for that to work. Instructions are there. Sizes extra small to 5X, goes up to a 59.5-inch hip. Now, one cool thing that you might like is that there's a standard belly and a full belly option, and you'll find this with a few patterns at Love Notions that have this. So if you are plotting your measurements down on the chart and you find that your waist is a size larger than your hips, then that might be the option for you. Also, if you just want a longer rise and you just want more comfort, you want more space around the waist, go ahead and use the full belly option. Whole different pattern piece, the works. I use the standard belly option because my measurements fall within one size. And yeah, I'm a size large. Check out there. My waist 34, my hips 43.5. I'm very happy. I'm going to end up around with 4 inches of ease around the hips, which is usually a little bit more than what I would like for regular pants. But I think for these, where you're meant to be active, I think it's perfect. I have already shared with you my fitting process in the previous video. It's a super cool refresher on fitting woven pants. So it was very practical. You can see my muslin, all the things I did to get the fit that I wanted. And I really enjoyed sharing that with you. I'm not going to go much into depth, but I did have to add an inch to the rise front and back all the way around. I also added an inch above the knee darts so that they would end up at my knees because my legs are a little longer. For the shorts, I also added an inch above the hem so that they would end up a little longer as well. Now sewing, I'm going into a lot here. It's a longer sewing segment than other videos because there's a lot to see. So go ahead and enjoy. This took me hours upon hours upon hours, let's say days. That's why I don't have the video for you on the release date. It was just so intensive to film and to edit, but I hope it's helpful. This is the pocket bag. This is one of the hip areas. It's the same on the other side. And you're meant to cut this from the main fabric, but I want to cut it from lightweight cotton lining fabric. I've just drawn a line here that's going to be cut out of the main fabric and just placed on top of the lining fabric. How I determined that was getting my pocket lining. So this is where I'm going to put my hand in. And so I just drew a line here. I eyeballed it so that this green fabric is going to be larger than that. So this is a little piece I have made up with another piece of paper here. I copied the same thing. I kept the grain line the same. And this is going to be called a facing. I'm going to cut this out of the main fabric, 2 of them. And then I'm going to cut my pocket bag and my pocket lining with the lightweight cotton so that it's just less bulk around the waist and everywhere. You'll see some patterns have this. Check this out on your jeans ready to wear. They do this a lot too. It's not a straight line right there, so the fabric in essence could stretch out. I'm fusing stay tape along this slanted pocket opening right here, slightly further away from the edge. This will make it really stable. And I'm going to do this on both sides, and this is going to give me a lot of peace of mind for later. This is something I like to do for all the slant pocket openings. Any pocket opening, I'm always going to do this. It's good practice. I have the front waistband pieces here, and we have 2 separate pattern pieces. One is for the left wearer's side, one is for the right wearer's side. Now I'm going to interface only the outer layer. The inner layer is going to be not interfaced. I have 2 layers of fabric here. These are right sides together. The one on the top is interfaced, the one on the bottom is not. I've got the same for both. And to make sure I'm cutting this correctly, I actually got my left piece and put it on my left. Like this is the left. This here is my left waist right here. And so that's how I want it to be. And this is how I confirm that this is going to be the outer layer on my left side right here. I'm touching my left side. So that's how I figured out it was going to come out correct. So pattern piece is wrong sides up. You can see all the printing is over here. But so it turns out correctly. I've got the interfaced layer right here and the pattern piece is wrong sides up. Same as for the right. I confirmed it. I took this off. This is interfaced. It's the outer layer. It's on my right side of my body. And that's how I'm going to cut it. You can see that the right waistband is longer than the left. That's supposed to be like that. So if you want to get this right and not think much about it, just do what I've done right here. 2 layers of fabric. The top layer is interfaced. These 2 layers are right sides together. The pattern pieces are wrong sides up. You can see no printing, no instructions there. And just right there, left, right, compare it on your body, and that's how I'm going to cut it. This is block fusing, which means I have already interfaced a larger piece of fabric on the layer that needs it. And now I'm going to cut. Now the centered area here is straight. You're going to see a line that has a grain line mark, and then it curves out like this. So on this center area, I'm cutting on the straight of grain. By block fusing, it means I didn't have to cut the interfacing separately. It gets all distorted. Pattern piece the fabric can shrink. So by doing it this way, you ensure that both layers are going to end up exactly the same size. And just keep cutting away. And so it's easy. I'm just going to put an L right here and an R over there. For the inner layer, I think my yellow pen is going to do a better job at writing down what I need. This is a regular coloring pencil dipped in a bit of water. It marks beautifully. It won't come off. The other thing I'm going to mark, just so that I don't have to think about it later, is a S here for side, so that I know this is the center, that's the side. It's just easier to do now than having to think about this later. And this is where things can get confusing and you can start making mistakes. But if you have the pattern pieces right next to you, you know exactly what you're doing. This is the side seam, that's why the S. Little tricks I do that make the process easier later. Now these are just the front waistbands I'm going to interface. And I made that decision based on my fabric choice. I have a cotton twill. It's pretty heavy, pretty structured. The back is going to have elastic inside, so I definitely want to avoid the bulk. For the elastic, you have 2 pieces. They're each going to have a center back seam, and you're going to have 2 layers like this. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to interface it. If I was working with something lighter, if I was working with linen, for example, I would definitely interface one of these layers. In that case, I would have just chosen a pair to interface, and then I would have left the other pair not interfaced. These are 4 pairs of pocket flaps. Now I'm putting patch pockets on the back and patch pockets on the side. They all use the same pattern piece, so that makes it helpful. And again, because of my fabric choice, I'm not interfacing any of these. But if I was working with linen, for example, or tencel or something like that, I would definitely interface one of the layers. So In that case, I would interface 2 pairs and then leave the other 2 pairs not interfaced, and then I would match them up so that the outer layer would be interfaced. Not in this case though. Denim, cotton twill, corduroy, you don't need the interfacing. It's structured and tightly woven enough to not need that. These are the main pattern pieces for the Medowlark from Love Notions. This is the shorts version. You can sew long pants. You can also sew long pants that are separating into shorts and then with a lower leg with a zip off option. I'm not doing that. The front has a fake fly, but it does have an extension there so that it looks more realistic. That's why the shape there, but the seam will be a regular front crotch seam like this. This is the back. Slanted pocket opening. I have stabilized the yoke, the waistband. Remember, there's 4 pieces. They both have a center back seam, so there's 2 pairs of those. They're stacked on top of each other. And here are the front waistband piece. The outer layer is interfaced, the inner layer is not going to be interfaced. Now I'm going to take all of this away and show you all the fun little pocket pieces. Here are some pocket pieces. This large piece that you see here is going to be for the zip pocket. That's going to be on one leg. It's a long rectangle, and along the top you're going to see the rectangle mark right there. I have marked it with a pen. Here is my zipper. I've got a matching green zipper for that. And then these are for the slanted pocket openings on the front. This is the pocket bag. This is the one where I modified and just cut it out of lining fabric just so it's lighter weight and less bulky. And then I have that small facing piece that I created from my main fabric. This is a piece that's going to be sewn right on top right there. This is the pocket lining. This is what gets sewn onto the pants and then flipped to the inside. Both have the same shape along the bottom. These are both pieces that are cut out extended. The big pieces that you just cut once, one for each. These are the patch pockets. These that are wider are the ones that go on the leg. There are 2 lines here that I've marked in yellow. There's a pleat there. In the end, it's going to end up the same width as the back patch pocket, which is just a simple one. Have these little angles on the side. I like that shape. And then there's 4 pocket flaps, 1 for each pocket. That means there are 8 of these little pieces. I've just already got them in pairs right there. This is the back yoke. You can see that on this edge, there's 2 marks where the pockets are going to go. So that means that's not the waist. This is the waist over here. And just as a precaution, I'm going to stay stitch this a shape. It's not just rectangles here, so there is a potential for stretching, and the waistband comes so much further along the process. I'm doing this with a straight stitch 3.0 and with a seam allowance smaller than 3/8, which is what we're going to use later for the waistband. I'm going to repeat on the other side, on the other yoke. The front has this slanted area that is for the pockets, so the waist actually is just this little short bit right here. That's what I'm going to stay stitch. Now I'm going to dedicate some time to preparing all these patch pockets, both the ones for the back and the ones on the sides of the legs. I'm not about to leave the edges raw on the inside, so I'm serging them all. After serging these, I'm going to press them all in by 3/8 of an inch, and the top edge is going to be pressed in by 1 inch. So I'm going to do that all off camera. It's pretty boring. Here are the 2 back patch pockets already serged, pressed in by 3/8 along these edges, and the top edge has been pressed in by 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that. This is one of the easy options, just to sew all the way across and then just fold in and top stitch. That's a simple version, but there is a neater version that I'm going to show you with this one. And it just gives you a cleaner edge over here rather than that fold. And you just bring this, fold it right sides together. So this way, right where you had that memory crease. And then that little bit, we sew it. 3/8 seam allowance along the same memory crease that you can already see. You do that on both of the corners and then you flip it and you get a really nice corner. So choose what you like. Method number 1 definitely is easier and takes less time. Now after that little seam, we flip it. And it just makes this edge nice and neat. That's how it looks like from the other side. The fold comes from underneath. I'm showing you these 2 options, but in the end, no one's going to know the difference. You will. So after flipping it, we're going to top stitch. I'm going to leave these aside for now, and now I'm going to show you the other patch pockets that go on the leg. These have the same shape, but they're wider. You can see those 2 lines. There's going to be a pleat there. And instead of pressing everything in, I would rather sew the pleat first and then press everything in. So with the fabric right sides together here, this is the wrong side of the pocket, this is the right side. I'm just going to align these lines right on top of each other. And we're going to sew down these pleats for about 2 inches from the bottom up and then from the top down. And the rest is going to be open.
But what I'm going to do instead is sew the whole thing. I'm going to measure the 2 inches and make a mark, and then over here as well. So you can see the marks. So here I'm going to do a regular stitch length, reinforce. Then in between I'm going to do a long stitch length, basting stitch, reinforce, and then do a regular stitch length there. Just find this way easier to press the pleat and for it to come up really neat. There's my line, reinforce, lengthen my stitch length to 5 for this middle section. Shorten it again, reinforce. So another reminder, regular stitch length, basting stitch, regular stitch length. Now I'm going to head over to the iron and press it open like that, the volume of the pleat to each side, really, really neatly. Once I've pressed it really well, then I'm going to go ahead and fold on the top, fold in the top, the edges and everything. Okay, here are the leg patch pockets with the pleats. Mine is sewn all the way through. In this middle section, I can see the long stitch length, and actually when the pants are done, when I'm finished, I'm going to remove that and open up the pleat. For now, I'm just going to leave it. I've already top stitched the top. I did the knit technique when you flip this to the other way like I showed you. If you look at the leg patch pockets with the pleat and the simple back patch pockets, they have the same width here on the top. So that is why we can use the same flaps for all of them. This top edge that's straight, that's going to remain raw. What we need to sew is this short end, the slanted one, and the little short end, 3/8 seam allowance. After doing that, we're going to flip them. I'm going to do them all in succession. I'm going to get them all ready. I'm sewing these little seams and stop and going all the way through to the edge. I'm not pivoting. So I'm starting every time, and I'm going to have intersecting seam allowances. I think it turns out nice and crisp when you do it like that. Seam is done. Now I'm going to turn them the other way around. Here at the corners, I just fold the seam allowances onto themselves. Put my hand in there and flip. Usually it turns out really nice. Look, nice. There it is. I'll just repeat 3 more times, go to the iron, press them, and then we're going to be top stitching. This is another presser foot. This has an L on it. It's also a type of blind hem presser foot, but different. When you move this, it moves this edge in or out, so you can actually get whatever seam allowance you want, and it's really helpful. I've set it here to about 1/8 of an inch. I thought for a while if I wanted to top stitch again, and I've decided to go for it. So now I'm going on the second row with my 1/4 inch presser foot. This means I've also committed to sewing it in the same way when I top stitch the patch pockets onto the legs. This is the back leg. We still need to sew the yoke on later, but first we top stitch the pocket. So there are 2 marks here. I've got pins because I'd marked them on the wrong side, and right in between there we're going to put our patch pocket. Now, the instructions say to place this 1/2 inch down, but I'm doing it a little further down, about 5/8, just so I can have more room to sew the yoke in later. So I've drawn a little line there, 5/8 from the edge, and I'm just going to place it right there, right in between the 2 marks, nice and neatly. And this is how I'm going to top stitch. Because my fabric is so easy to work with, doesn't move anywhere, I am going to just rely on pins for this. You've seen me top stitch other things where sometimes I hand based, but I think in this case I'm going to get away with the pins, which is great. With so many features like the pockets here, I think if you choose an easier to work with fabric, you're going to end up having a nicer time. So I'm just top stitching on the edge here, nice and neatly all the way around. First right on the edge, and then I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch presser foot and stitch around the edge as well. Okay, pocket looks super neat. Now we're going to take a pocket flap and align the raw edge on the top, matching the raw edge of the top of the back leg right there. So they're right against each other. I'm going to do a quick basting stitch just on the edge right there for both sides, and then we can sew on the yoke. There's a flap basted on right there. This is the yoke that's going to match this one. These are both right sides up right now. And if you look on the wrong side, you have these little marks as well. That's where the pockets go. So that's how you know that these edges are the ones that are meant to be sewn together. We also know, because I had stay stitch the waist right here, this longer edge of the yoke is meant to be in the center where the crotch curve is. So just make sure you get it right. Flip it over here, right sides together. And now we're going to sew the yoke together with the back leg, 3/8 seam allowance. After sewing that, I'm going to go ahead and serge the edge. We're going to run into a few layers and bulk where the pocket flap is. And that's why I wanted to leave myself a little bit more space, and I placed the patch pocket a little bit lower, just so that I don't run into that bulk under the presser foot that much. The seam allowance is going up towards the yoke, and I'm edge stitching this down, this for both sides. What I've done off camera was sew the back crotch seam there, just place them right sides together, matched up the yoke there, serged it, and then I pressed the seam this way towards the left wearer's side as one, and did the 2 rows of top stitching. So this is ready. I'm going to put this aside, and now I'm going to work on the front. This is the front. The first step we need to do is sew the crotch seam right here. I've got the line marked, it's on the pattern, and I'm just going to sew the whole thing. Then I'm going to go ahead and serge all of this as well. This is a fake fly. It's not a real fly. And then I'm going to open it up once it's sewn, press all of that extension towards the left side, and then we top stitch that down. We top stitch part of the crotch as well here. Once we have that done, then we can start working on these slant pockets right here. But this is super easy. I'm just going to sew, serge. I'll show you how that looks like after I'm done. Okay, I've got the front crotch curve sewn. Sewn it like a regular seam. Remember, this is all fake. I have gone ahead and serged this, being careful here with this shape here. And then when you open it up, this is the left wearer's side. It's on your right hand, but when you wear it on your body, it's going to end up on the left side of you. That is the right. I've pushed all that extension towards the left right here. The seam allowance at the bottom as well, over here on the curve. And then I've edge stitched all the way down. Now with the chalk I've drawn, I like my distance here 1 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to give it a quick top stitch there. That's going to hold that in place. It's going to look more realistic, although it's fake. I'm getting my pocket pieces ready for the front pockets, the slant openings, but this is the pocket bag. This is the area that completes the hip. And this is a little piece I had cut off myself. It's a pattern piece I created. And it's just the main fabric on top of my lining fabric here. Now this is green, it's plain. It's aquamarine actually. And here we have little lines. I want that seen. So I'm going to sew these pocket facings onto the wrong side right here. And I've got them pinned all along the edge. I serged this because that was all raw. And now I'm just going to sew all around there. Then this can act as one piece and you can forget that that is there. Now that the front is complete, we can bring in our pocket lining. And we're just going to sew this slanted edge right here where the pocket opening is. Over here, we're just going to leave it because we're going to flip it to the other side later. I'm actually going to align it and sew it from the edge that I have the fusible stay tape because that's the most stable area. So I'm just going to sew this slanted pocket area, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. It's 2 little sections. You've seen me do this before. Sometimes the shape changes, sometimes it's a curve, but the idea is the same. This pocket bag is going to go all across your tummy. It's going to feel super nice. I'm looking at it from this side now and I'm going to extend it and then I'm going to understitch. Seam allowance underneath the colorful fabric right here. It's going to keep this from being seen on the pocket opening. Now I'm top stitching the pocket openings. Don't think that understitching is redundant. It really keeps the colorful fabric on the inside. If you just go ahead and top stitch, you might be able to see the contrast fabric peeking through and that's not a good look. Now we bring back this that we had already prepared, and now we put our pants on top. It's going to match up. See, this area completes the hip area. You put your hand in, you're going to see the green fabric, but inside we have the other colorful fabric. I'm going to turn this around so we can see it better. These shapes at the bottom should match. And now we just take these 2 layers, sew them, serge them, baste around here so that it acts like one piece, and you can baste around here so that the waist also acts like one piece. Okay, basic steps are done, serged, sewn right there. Now I did baste along the waist so that it just stays put. I basted here partially, but I'm going to pull these up and pin them away, because if you just leave them extended, they're going to interfere with the patch pocket. So it's fine when the patch pocket is sewn if these just fall on top later, but I didn't want to baste the whole hip right now. You can see my lines right there. So I left about 1 inch free above there so that I could fold this up, pin it out of the way. Now, when I flip it, I have transferred those marks over to the front. This will come out with heat, so I'm not concerned. This is where the patch pockets are going to go on the leg right here. But in order for that to happen, we need to sew a side seam. I'm going to bring over the back and just put it on top. Okay, I've got this pinned partially. I'm going to have to sew this in 2 stages, basically. So from here, where I have the line, I have a little bit further up, about 1.5 inches. I'm going to sew and I'm going to serge, but I'm going to leave all of this free on the top, because after I've sewn the patch pocket in, then I'm going to bring this pocket down and then I'm going to complete sewing the rest. That's how I've figured out that pocket bag is not going to get in the way. A little bit fiddly, but there's a lot of pockets to fit into a small space, especially here on the shorts. But there's no other way around it. You need this seam sewn for you to be able to sew the patch pocket. This line goes up to here, and if I align the tip of the pocket right here, the pleat is going to be sort of off-centered. I think I would like that pleat to be right on top of that seam. I think it will just look nicer that way. So I'm going to push it back and make sure that the middle of this pocket is right on the seam. I think I'm going to like that a little bit more. I'm going to pin it, sew it. There's nothing different to what I did with the other patch pocket on the back, so I'm not going to film that. It's exactly the same. It's even the same shape and size. The only difference is the pleat. And I'm going to open the pleat at the very last second once I'm done with the shorts. So I'm going to edge stitch and do the 1/4 inch as well. These pocket flaps are a little bit different than the other ones that we left raw. In this case, I did serge that just to clean it up. I have the flap right sides together here with the pants, the serged edge along the top of the patch pocket here, centered, and I'm going to top stitch right there. Then I'm going to flip it over and top stitch again. Got my 1/4 inch presser foot. Now I'm going to flip this to the bottom just to cover that seam that we've done, and I'm going to top stitch again. I ended up unstitching a little bit more of this pocket to just leave it like that, and stitching a little bit more. So from the top there, from the top of the pocket flap, there's about 2 inches, and then the rest is opened. I need that because I am going to sew the zipper pocket here. You can see on my fabric I have drawn that rectangle right there, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is just do a little memory crease in the center, just so that it's easier to place it on the center. And then taking that little rectangle there as a guide, I cut out a piece of interfacing. It doesn't go all the way to the edge of the pocket bag, but it does go over the rectangle by about 3/4 inch on each side. I'm going to fuse that right there above the flap. I have a little line there showing me what is the center as well, and I'm going to put that right on top of the seam, the side seam. Here we have the side seam that we have, the flap and the pocket, and place it slightly above that pocket flap right there. I have that little crease that's going to help me center it right over the seam. So I can feel the pocket flap. I'm going to make sure the same distance everywhere. I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to sew that little rectangle with a tiny, tiny stitch length all the way around. Okay, there's the wrong side. Little rectangle is pressed nice and neatly. This is still flapping around. For this zipper to fit behind here, I had to take away quite a few teeth. I've done some hand sewing there to keep this together so that this doesn't end up flying off. And this is what's going to go behind this rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and hand baste it in place and then top stitch it in place. It took a while to hand baste and get everything centered and neat. Now I'm sewing on the edge just with my regular presser foot. I'm going all the way around, pivoting, hand cranking around the corners to make sure it's all neat. And at some point I'm going to have to move the pull out of the way so I can get around it. Okay, there it is, top stitched very nicely. Now let's turn it around. Now what we do over here is very simple. I'm gonna trim away this that's left over there. It's not gonna be seen. I'm gonna bring this to the top, and this is the pocket bag for the zipper pocket. All we have to do now is sew around the edge, not the bottom because it's folded, so it's along there, serge, and that's it. And then I'm going to be able to finish this leftover bit right there that I have. Okay, after I've been sewing all these pockets and trying to get this out of the way, I've been unstitching most of what I had basted on the side. So my recommendation is don't baste it on the side, just leave it loose. It'll be so much easier. I have serged the edge there up to where it's possible because we have that pocket seam there. And now I'd done a little bit of hand sewing right there so I could get better access because I didn't sew enough when I did this zipper pocket. It was too close to get access with the machine. But I know now for next time to sew it up higher. I want to bring this pocket bag from the zipper up and pin it in place. Now I'm going to bring this over like this, and this is going to be on top. This is how I'm going to get all these pocket bags to not run into each other in a way that's uncomfortable. So I can see where I need to start sewing, where that seam ended, that little one I'd done. I'm going to start here and then sew all the way up to the top. Okay, that's how the side seam looks here above the zipper pocket and above this. You can't tell that I've sewn this in stages. That was my intent. From this side, it looks neat, it's serged, it's pressed towards the back. This part is flapping around, but that's fine. It doesn't need to be caught anywhere. You can still have access to your pockets here. This is just going to be there. I don't want to tuck it down anywhere because it's going to interfere with the volume of this pocket, but that's fine. It can live like that. Now for the other side, I've learned my lesson and I'm just going to unpin this because it just gets in the way. I'm going to remove this basting that I've done here, holding this over here, and I'm just going to let it free. Now this other side's going to be easier because I'm not going to be doing the zipper pocket. That was just on the one side. So now I can sew this normally above that line right here, same as I did before. It's just that I have more space now. I'm going to sew this, open it up. I was able to do this pocket no problem. There's a flap, there's no zipper there, which made it super easier to do. And over here, I was able to sew this in 2 stages, as you saw. I'd sewed up to there. That's when I started again overlapping that seam a little bit. And then I serged it at the end. This here is sort of loose, but I was able to tuck it down to the seam allowance there. And on this side where I just left it, I opened this up and tucked it there by hand only to this side so that I still have full access to the zipper pocket. Now the rest, I feel like I'm done. All I need to do now is the inseam. So now we can finally close that up, sew, serge, hem, and then do the waistband.
I didn't include the waistband. I have a whole episode on this channel showing you how to do flat front elasticated back waistbands in detail, many types of ways. I'm going to link that for you down below with the minutes and with the technique that I prefer. I did it differently than what the instructions say just because I'm used to doing it this way and I find it's more comfortable on the sides. but the way that you do it in the instructions is easy to follow, and it's a valid option that you also be able to see in my video as well. All the business you saw me fiddling with the pockets, you know, to get that pocket to not overlap the other pocket, that's all going to be something that you run into with the shorts. For the shorts, I couldn't drop down the patch pockets because then I would run into the hem. So that's why you saw me sewing the side seam in different stages. Just one way that I found I was going to be happier with, rather than having pockets upon pockets and seams on top of bags on the inside. Here are my Medowlark shorts. They're so pretty. I love this green fabric. This is the flat waistband on the front. I actually put 2 buttons and 2 buttonholes because the waistband is tall. So I thought 1 buttonhole might gape. So that's what I mean about this being open on the top, which gives you a little bit more circumference here than when you close it up completely. There is the seam, there is the fake fly top stitching, and this is where that waistband should reach. This is the left waistband. So when you're sewing your waistband, put this one on first, then go ahead and pin all the way around. And then this one that's longer on the right is going to be on top of it. That is how that looks like. So left waistband first, matching the seam, pin it all the way around, come over this side, and then the right side, which is longer, is going to overlap it. Then when you wear it, it's going to look like actual pants that have an actual zipper, but there isn't one. My front waistbands are interfaced, the ones on the inside aren't. The back is not interfaced, and I have elastic that's top stitched down. The yoke, the patch pockets with the flaps. In the instructions, it mentions top stitching down the flap a little bit here and there. And that's so that it can keep the pocket a little more closed and whatever you put inside safer. I didn't do it. I left mine like that. I don't like bar tacks. My machine doesn't do them that well. The patch pocket on the legs, beautiful pleat. That's the last thing I did. After everything was done, I released that. You see, I did a basting stitch and it's so crisp, so well pressed. Pocket flap over here and the zipper pocket. I only had 1 green zipper. I wish it'd been a little darker, but that's all I could find in my zipper collection. I had to trim off teeth. It was a thing. But it turned out amazing. I think on the inside they look really neat. I like the fabric that I chose. The fabric that I chose is a quilting cotton and it's super soft inside. There is the bag for the zipper pocket and this is the other one that goes on top. None of them are running into each other. They're all sort of free. And yeah, that took me a while to figure out. So yeah, I love it. So comfortable. This pocket goes all across the front. Feels so nice on, and I love sewing these. These are my Medowlark from Love Notions. These are the shorts option. The original inseam is 5 inches, but mine is 6. I'm just a little bit taller. I wanted a little bit more length. And this is a green cotton twill, very sturdy, very structured, very easy to work with. These are a size large with the standard belly option. There's also a full belly option as well if you need it. I've paired it with my band cap. I have it tucked out, but I'll tuck it in so you can see the details of the shorts. They're super comfortable. The ease is perfect. Flat front, elasticated back waistband. I feel like I could definitely be active here. I wouldn't be uncomfortable at all. Fitting changes for my pants. I lengthened the rise by 1 inch all the way around the front and the back. I have back patch pockets with the flaps there, the yoke, the elasticated waistband at the back, super comfortable. At the front, slanted pockets here. And on this leg on the left, I have the patch pocket, has a pleat. I also have the zipper pocket right on top. It has a nice amount of space in there, so double pockets on this leg. And on this leg, I just have 1 patch pocket. Very nice pleat detail. I think all the dedication paid off. So many pocket details, but I think they're worth it. These are meant to be hiking shorts in essence. Of course, I can wear them and style them in other ways. That's why I don't have sneakers here, but you'll see it styled other ways. I brought the sneakers out, but they're not exactly hiking sneakers. These are zebra sneakers. They're nice little sneakers, very comfortable to wear, but definitely not to climb the mountain. And I've got it paired with my zebra Vivace top that I made just recently at the beginning of the year in May. I think it's a cute look. Green is a neutral, and then black and white is always going to go with everything, so I think this looks nice. Okay, believe it or not, I have actually been into hiking a lot before I moved to Brazil. I like doing it in New Zealand, in Bolivia, in Chile. The highest mountain I've ever been on the top of was about 16,400 feet, 5,000 meters in elevation. There's no oxygen up there, but I've dusted out my shoes. Brazil tends to be quite flat around where I live, so I haven't been hiking for a while. I've got a nice comfy tank in an athletic knit, super fresh, but it's got a really nice neckline detail to make it a little bit more glam, even if I'm hiking. These are comfy sneakers. They've seen me go through so many places. I think they turned out amazing. They're so comfortable. I feel great in them. I know I can wear them out on a regular day where I just leave the house and I'm not going to do something active. I can just wear sandals and a nice top. Love the color. It's a neutral. It's going to go with a lot of things. And then if I actually go up to the mountain one day, I'll be sure to wear them if it's a hot day. My second pair is made out of corduroy. There's a nap. I look at it with natural lighting and see which side is the darkest. That's the side I like. So once I've determined that, I place everything in the same direction. You can see here the two legs. Sometimes to save fabric, when this isn't an issue, you can put one leg this way, one leg that way, and it's more efficient in the layout. So you tend to need more fabric when there's corduroy or velvet, something like that, but totally worth it. Here it is, same size, everything's the same. I have 6 pockets. Look, I was having a hard time seeing with my glasses while I was sewing because it's black, so I didn't film anything with this one. It's not a good subject for a tutorial, but maybe you can see the beautiful corduroy there. It's so lovely. I have one button, the fake fly. There's a slant pocket entrance, stabilized in the same way. At the back, I have the patch pockets with a flap. All the same. Fabric is very heavy, very structured. There is the elasticated waistband at the back. Here are the pockets on the side. Same little flaps. I forgot to open up the pleat. I'll make sure to do that before I model it for you. And the only difference with this one was that the side seams are longer, the inseams as well. And then here on the knee, we have these 2 dots on the side. It's easy to sew, makes no difference to construction. Just makes the front of the leg bend over easier, so you can move your knees better if you're doing some type of activity that requires that. This one I timed it. I put a timer. I was sewing pretty relaxed, no filming. I had all the steps in my head, so I was just ticking along. It took about 3.5 hours non-stop. The other one, because I was filming, took pretty much more than double that. That's okay. It was very enjoyable. All the top stitching was really nice. I really enjoyed it. And let me show you the inside, because I chose a really nice quilting cotton for the pockets. One of the things I mostly enjoy is picking out nice quilting cottons because I don't use it for sewing. I don't quilt. But check out this pocket on the inside. It's so beautiful. And the cotton is so soft. It's so lovely. So no one's going to see it, but I know it's there and I love that. So I have my Medowlark for winter and my Medowlark for summer. Both amazing. Can work for any weather. It just depends on the fabric. I think no one else from the tester group used such a thick, heavy fabric for winter, but I have a special plan for it and I'm going to wear these heaps at the end of the year. And yeah, so lovely. I hadn't made corduroy pants in years and years. I can't even remember. I can't find that fabric here. They don't sell it. But I was so happy to find it in Chile and bring it over. I bought it specifically for this. When I saw it, I knew, the Medowlark for winter. These are my second pair of Medowlark pants from Love Notions. This time full length. I don't have the zip-up option. I have the regular leg, size large, 1 inch added to the rise front and back, and 1 inch added above the knee darts. The knee darts give great shaping and improve mobility with woven pants. Comfy ease all the way around. This is a heavier fabric, very structured. I sewed this specifically for winter. Got it paired with my Barrington tee from Love Notions. Leopard print, love it. Okay, here is the waistband, hits my waist. If I had not added that extra inch of rise, I would be very uncomfortable in this front section. Same as the back, it would probably go down when I see it. And this is very comfortable. It's just right, just like I need it. Slant pocket openings. I have beautiful fabric on the inside that I can enjoy. Fake fly, lots of pockets over here. Flaps, pockets right there, pockets here. pockets on the back with the flaps. I have a total of 6 pockets right here. Check out the lower section of these pants. I think I could do with 1/2 inch more of the inseam, but it's okay. I think I'm going to make my hem smaller. The knee darts, you can see them. I think they look really cool, and they just help you bend your knees if you're going to be hiking or walking a lot. So much more comfortable than the regular woven pants that don't have that shaping for. Arms are pretty long. I can reach here very well, no problems at all. And because these pockets are designed lower on the longer pants, you don't run into the problems I ran into the shorts with the pocket bag from these pockets. So they don't touch, they have nothing to do with each other right there. Because these pants have a little bit more ease and more structured, I think I'd like to balance myself by wearing shorter tops like you saw with the t-shirt I was wearing before. And now with this hoodie, this is one of the shortest hoodies I have. I don't think I'd like to wear a big jacket or a big hoodie that's long and has a lot of ease along with these pants. So I look for something more fitted on the top, and that's how I'd feel the best. Keeping in line with the styling that I feel the best in, I've brought out my Frankie sweater. It's a very lightweight sweater, neat and pink. It looks really comfortable. It's not too long, it's not too fitted, just right. I think it matches beautifully. I don't have to tuck in because usually you don't tuck in sweaters. I've kept it winter styling. Corduroy is known to be a winter fabric, nice and warm, cozy. I would not wear corduroy in full-blown summer. I would just combust inside the fabric. But these in the height of winter are going to be amazing. I hope you enjoyed this episode and have a go at these pants. Even if you don't like hiking, if you live on a farm or you need utility type wear, these will be great. Remember to grab the Medowlark 24% off through the 4th of August, next Monday. All the details in the description box and the comment section. See you soon. Bye.